Five Car's back on the track.
He is back on the track, my friend. Again, I was right, and then I was wrong, and I think I was wrong again. Then I was kind of right. Whatever. Bottom line is no more will he, won't he? He will, as announced today by Dan Quinn at his press conference. I thought that was really, really cool. I mean, that's kind of the whole point, right, of ramping up. You actually ramp up towards something. He will play, and we will see it live in person in Minnesota.
Yeah, it adds some spice to our trip, and we're not alone. Thousands of Commanders fans, I'm sure, are going to Minneapolis because it's not a stadium that the Commanders play at very often. This is a place where they almost never play, and so it's going to be one of those destination trips for Commanders fans. It's also considered, for people that don't know, one of the nicest, best NFL stadiums. It's still kind of new. It was one of the initial stadiums from a technological standpoint that has the tech of while you're inside, you feel outside at times. So for a lot of reasons, I can't wait to get out there. But boy, does this spice things up for those of us that are going to be in person. And for everybody else watching on TV, this game just became must-see television again. It went from a fairly uninteresting Week 14 game where the results don't matter to now you've got to tune in, you've got to watch to see how Jayden Daniels looks, whether or not A, he's completely healthy and B, can stay completely healthy, but also how does he deal with the blitz of Brian Flores and the Vikings? How does he deal with some of the things he had trouble with against the Seahawks when Kurt Warner and some national analysts were beating up on him a little bit the last time he was on the field? This just became really, really compelling again.
There's so many different aspects to that, but you said the most essential one to me. It's the thing that I care about. Just as a tangentially, I'll get to the smaller one first. I like it when players that I care about who are developing go up against a different style, right? The paradigm of the league is to back off, cover with 7, rush with 4, make people think and don't go all the way down the field, knowing that a penalty, an incomplete pass, a TFL, something will interrupt the drive, right? Those are the drive killer type moments, and you're counting on a mistake when you have the offense run more and more and more plays. That's kind of the paradigm. Basically, it's the Pat Mahomesization, if that's even a term I made up, of the NFL, where they said, we're getting destroyed blitzing people. You come after these guys like Brady and Mahomes with their supercomputers in their brains, they'll pick you apart and kill you. So we're not doing that. We're just covering, no big plays, and that's how defense is. There are a couple guys that run counter to that. Todd Bowles is one. This was the first test that Jayden Daniels ever had in the NFL in a regular season game. And Brian Flores, he is here to blitz you. He's here to also blitz you and blitz me and you, and he'll blitz a couple people in the crowd. That's what he wants to do, is bring pressure and see how you handle it and how you deal with it. I like that just from a developmental perspective, that it's a little bit different. It's another look, another chance for growth.
Well, what I really like about having to deal with all the blitzing this week is this is actually an area of Daniels' game this year where he has struggled. If you remember last year, he was incredible against the blitz, really dynamic and prolific. When you brought someone, he would just throw behind the oncoming defender and they would make plays. This year, the numbers against the blitz have kind of reversed. Marcus Mariota, I believe, is 7th against the blitz in the National Football League in terms of completion percentage and efficiency. Jayden Daniels was completing, before he last got hurt, 47% of his passes against the blitz this year, which was dead last among qualifying quarterbacks. And so what I really like about the matchup is, number one, I think you're going to see a reversal of some of those numbers. I'll bet you he handles it a lot better with more talent around him, which we'll get into in a second, because he's going to have his full assortment of weapons, basically. But beyond that, I think this is just a really good test. Like, this is where it's become clear to me, I view him coming back and playing differently than a lot of fans of this team, it seems like. We all want the same things. We all want Jayden Daniels to be on the field, staying healthy, playing spectacular football, the team winning important games, getting back to the playoffs and winning a Super Bowl ultimately. But how you get there, we can have differing views. And I think it's critical for him to get in-game reps. I think it's massive for him to be back on the field. And I need to see him basically get tested. You've got a golden opportunity. I think they screwed up in the preseason by not having him throw a single pass. I think they screwed up in training camp with how they went about their operation. And now you've got a de facto more valuable, more legitimate opportunity to kind of recreate some of those things, to develop him, to get him back up to speed, to make up for some of the areas where I think self-inflicted wounds set in for this offense, for this operation, for Jayden Daniels. And so now you've got 5 games. This has been my point all along. This is not 1 week. This is not week 18. 29% of your season is out in front of you. That's 29% theoretically of practices, of games, of time on the grass for this guy to go get better, to go make plays, to develop again, so you're not stunting the progress that he can make the rest of the way. And to get to see him get tested against Flores and the Vikings is a huge deal. Because if it goes great or it doesn't, is irrelevant. That's the gift of this now lost season, is that he's going to be better for everything that happens as long as you can keep him healthy. And the juice is worth the squeeze here. I'm really excited for Sunday. And I'm happy for the fan base, because him being on the field, him not being on the field is a binary difference between these games, frankly, being worth watching and not.
Yeah, it's my level of interest, yeah.
No slight against Marcus Mariota, who is a adequate backup and is a guy they should re-sign the second they're able to. Keep him around as your QB2, because it's pretty clear you're going to need a second car in the garage that you can use when the other one needs some work.
That's right.
But this is the Ferrari. And getting to get back out on the highway and open it up a little bit again is the whole point. That's why we spent the big money.
So you and I have already argued about this. I'm sure we'll argue about it more, but that fader exists for me. Like that data point that you're talking about, him playing well, him playing poorly. I'm interested in it. I will watch, of course, with great interest. And I care to some degree, but it's nowhere near. It's dwarfed 1,000 times over by the adjustments I need to see. In order to feel comfortable, in order to feel happy, to feel confident, I need lessons learned. I need a guy that's been hurt 4 times significantly. 3 of them caused him to miss games. I need major adjustments. I need paradigm shifts. I need it starts with him, with Jayden Daniels himself. I need those hits to go away. I need every shot that he's taking to be minimized. Part of the position is you're going to get hit. You deliver the ball from the pocket. See that Cincinnati Bengals game that you and I were at where he hit Terry McLaurin in stride for the game-winning touchdown. That's part of the position. That's going to happen. The unnecessary, the avoidable must be avoided. I need an adjustment there. I need it now. I need to start right now, this minute, for these next handful of games. I need coaching staff to reflect that in terms of designs, what's called, what's emphasized, what's being coached. If it's, well, you can't clip his wings or something like that, and you just sort of toss your hands up in the air to say you're helpless to influence it, that's not acceptable to me. I care about those things 1,000 times more than what happens in a lost season for a team that's playing out the string. It's still important. It's still, again, data points for growth and development. And as you said very well at the beginning of this, your speech just now. Speech is not a speech. What did you give?
I was a speech.
Your soliloquy?
Yeah, I'm looking for votes.
Your prepared speech.
Yeah.
At the beginning of your prepared campaign speech is we all want the exact same thing, right? Healthy, thriving Jayden Daniels carrying this team to meaningful wins. That's what everybody's looking for. How to get there, I think, is a great conversation. But to me, the thing that I'm going to be watching like a hawk is, do I see a difference in I need to be available? My lesson learned from this 3 separate significant injury season is that I'm lucky all of those weren't worse, and I need to do everything I possibly can to protect myself. That's what I'm watching.
So a couple of things. One, I have seen that people would suggest, well, he shouldn't run at all. He can play, that's fine, but he doesn't get to run. That's not how this is going to go. He's going to run. That's what he does. This is why he is special. Can he also win from the pocket? Yes. This is not an either or. He is capable of doing both. His ability to do both, the fact that he's a dual threat, the fact that he is a running quarterback is why he went number 2 overall. It's also ingrained in him in the same way that I have a proclivity and a propensity to want to eat chicken wings, or that Danny can't help himself from going and finding a pickleball court. When Jayden Daniels is playing football, he is going to use his legs. That is going to happen. So the idea shouldn't be he's got to stay in the pocket. He should be Jayden Daniels, play football. But to your point, you got to be smart. You've got to make decisions. I don't even want to say better, because I don't know that he's made bad decisions when he's gotten hurt. For the most part, I think the injuries have actually been somewhat coincidental to his play style, in a sense. It's not like Robert Griffin where he's getting crunched, turning it back upfield, or not getting out of bounds or something. So I don't have as big an issue with that. Like the conversation they're having about Jackson Dart in New York right now, where he's saying, just watch my tape from high school. This is who I've always been. I can do this, guys. Trust me. And he doesn't know that, oh my God, you're not going to last another season if you keep doing
when
this.
you were headbutting dudes from whatever, Teddy Roosevelt Central High School, when you were bigger and stronger than everybody. That's awesome. This is the show up here. This is the big leagues.
That's a real discussion they need to be having in New York, because he quite literally seeks out contact. I don't think that's what Jayden Daniels has done. And I don't feel the same way about him that I do Dart or I did about Griffin. I think he is smarter and better. There's a Lamar element a lot of times of, getting down, falling, sliding, whatever. But is it true that, yes, he got hurt while running against the Packers and got crunched? Absolutely. Did that happen against the Panthers? Yes, it did. Did that happen more recently against the Seahawks? Although that one to me was just super fluky. Yes. So are you more at risk when you weigh what he does, when your frame is his, and you're running around getting landed on by giant men moving at a high rate of speed? You are. So that's something he's got to be mindful of, no doubt. But where I will be okay with a philosophical shift moving forward for the rest of this season, not into next year where games matter again, but if they want to turn down their interest as a coaching staff in designed runs, I would like that. I think that makes a lot of sense. Like, there's no reason now in games where whether you win or lose doesn't really benefit you that much, getting him going downhill, asking him to be physical between the tackles on any of that. And they've taken a lot of that out of the playbook, it feels like, anyway. But I think a lot of the reason we don't see a lot of those now is just because he hasn't played most of the year. But I would just advocate for less designed runs. If you can get him to the edge in space near the sideline where he can get out of bounds, I'm cool with those. But anything kind of between the hash marks where he's going to have to either get down or get tackled probably based on where people are in space, no thanks. And that is one of the things. There could be a bunch of them that they do differently now in these final five, Jim Lokay style, where they're trying to get to the finish line, keep as many guys healthy as possible, but where there is valuable activity going on.
Yeah, I mean, think of I'm not saying you don't want to go full Russell Wilson. You never want to do that. But think of the number of times you saw Russell Wilson know a play is dead, whoever's fault that is. We could have a great discussion. But you get to the sideline and you just kind of flip it away to avoid the hit. I need those. I don't know that Daniels always does that. I think he's always still got in his mind, I can make a play here. And sometimes he's right. Other times it results in that, a hit that, previously wasn't catastrophic, but this year, 3 different times it has been. Again, one of those had nothing to do with him scrambling, nothing to do with him being out of the pocket. That Dallas hit was a fluky, terrible thing. That's the position. That's part of it. That's always going to happen. You referenced his frame. It's one of those things. It's not quite to the level of adult content. And, Sandra Day O'Connor saying, I'll know it when I see it, but it's close to that. I remember, again, it was, I guess it was Robert Mays, who we had on yesterday. We had on a while ago. They're in the shotgun to emphasize the quarterback run game. Stop emphasizing the quarterback run game. Get out. If that's the reason you're in shotgun, not good enough for me. If the reason you're in shotgun is we like Daniels or any quarterback to be able to see the field, never have to take his eyes off the defense, see as the coverage develops. If that's the case, okay, an argument can be made there. It's not necessarily one I buy, but that's one I'll say, okay, at least that's thoughtful. We got to keep the element of his running. No, you don't.
Sure you do. Sure you do.
No, you don't.
What do you mean get rid of the quarterback run game?
I'm not talking about getting rid of it. I'm talking about emphasizing it. When you emphasize a certain thing, then it becomes ingrained. The point is, if I'm emphasizing him as a passer, as an escape artist, as a playmaker, I want that emphasis turned up versus quarterback run is a huge part of our DNA.
So maybe it's a semantics thing because I don't know what emphasize is versus not emphasize.
If the reason you're in the shotgun is because you're emphasizing the quarterback run game, that's wrong. That's a broken paradigm.
That's what one analyst said. I think they're in the shotgun because that's what he's always done, and that's what Cliff's always done. I don't think they're going, we'd like to get under center, but we're going to stay in the shotgun so Jayden can run more. If Lamar Jackson's under center plenty. They still have an offense predicated on him running.
I don't know the answer. I don't know why it is. That's a smart analyst who said that one thing, and that's why I keep saying, if that's the reason, and I don't know what it is, if that's the reason, then let's have a conversation where I shake my finger and say, no. If the reason they're in shotgun is other stuff, okay, I'm going to have that conversation. But I think that's important. I want paradigm shifts where everybody's priority is him being healthy, and including his, by the way. The biggest responsibility here in this pie graph is Jayden Daniels himself.
Well, I think their priority is always him being healthy. I don't think Cliff Kingsbury hasn't had that as a priority, or Dan Quinn hasn't had that as a priority at any point. That would be insane. I mean, he is the keys to the kingdom. He's the face of the whole franchise, as we've seen this year. When he's not on the field, you don't really have a chance to win. So I don't think there has to be any kind of philosophical shift on that. I think they've always wanted to keep him healthy.
Well, when you run quarterback power early on in the season, that tells me that's not a paradigm. That tells me it's, we can get these yards right here. I don't care about those yards. I care about Jayden Daniels'
So you would
health.
never do that, ever?
I wouldn't do it as often as they did.
Right. I mean, they did it a handful of times over the course of
which was enough.
A football season.
And once people sniffed out his keepers for whatever reason, whether it's his fault, someone else's fault, I go, maybe that's not something we need to run as often. But they certainly did it.
So that I'll disagree with. This guy ran for 1,134 yards at LSU when he won the Heisman. That's why he won the Heisman, and it's why he was the number 2 pick. He ran for 885 yards the year before that at LSU, and it's why he became a household name in college football and was one of the top 10 picks going into the season where he climbed the list. The beauty of Jayden Daniels is he can also throw, which is why at I don't know, if you divide the number of plays he's doing something by passing versus running, it's still 70-30 or whatever it is. And the majority of his runs, by the way, are scrambles. They are not designed runs. Most of his yards, like last year, he was number 1 in the NFL in rushing yards on scrambles with 600 or something like that. Whereas Lamar, most of it's on design runs. So would I not, as I said earlier, like would I not have him running between the tackles in these meaningless games now? I wouldn't. Would I rip that out of the playbook altogether? Do I think that's an issue generally? No, because I think they're tapping into what he does great. It would be like saying, I don't want Terry McLaurin getting injured on the sideline anymore like he did in that Chiefs game. So let's not have him trying to get the ball in small windows in contested areas on the sideline, which is literally the thing he does best. But the fact that he comes back now, Danny, gives you a reason to watch again. And I have been fascinated by this idea of the number of fans who didn't want to see him back for fear of injury. They're out there, by the way, in a big way. So I did a poll today on my Twitter account at Grant H. Paulson, and I just asked, of Commanders fans, if Jayden Daniels is healthy, this was before DQ said he's going to play. I said, if he's healthy, he should play or he should sit. What would you have guessed? I'm going to give you the results of my poll in a second. But what would you have guessed the results would have been? Because we got so many calls, loud group of the fan base saying, don't play this guy, that I thought it was close to 50-50. Maybe that's crazy. I thought maybe 40.
No, because they were passionate about it. They were loud.
I thought like 40 to 50% of the fan base didn't want to see this guy play if he's healthy. Just to save him for the offseason, to redshirt him the rest of the way.
I would have guessed 70-30. So 70 he should play, 30 no.
Surprisingly, the poll ended up with over 1,200 votes so far. 87% of people said he should play.
How about that?
About 13% said he should sit. So my question to you is, are we just hearing from a very loud, small minority of the fan base that screams about not wanting to see him for injury risk? Or is this poll not indicative of the actual numbers? Because I would guess, just based anecdotally on the phones.
Yeah, the percentage of coldness of among the 13%, is that what it was?
Yeah.
Is very high.
The people that we have heard from, it's close to half and half, might be hyperbolic. Mm-hmm. But it's not that far off, I don't think. We've heard from constantly from fans saying this. So do you think 87-13 is about the ratio? Or are you're saying closer to 70-30? I think
it's probably closer to 75-25, something like that. But even still, there is a pulse. And I understand how they get there. I know a lot of people don't. It's not what I subscribe to, by the way. But to me, it's every time he plays, he's been hurt. He sat out for a while, came back, got hurt against Seattle. This something about this is broken, whatever this is. You know what I mean? Like the when he plays, he gets hurt. So why would you play him if he's going to get hurt? That's the logical chain. To me, the juice is worth the squeeze. If he was, closer to Joe Burrow's status in the NFL, where a guy that's played, has been an MVP candidate, has been to a Super Bowl, and is a finished product, I could hear more of that case. But he's not. I think that's the big disconnect there, is that it's important to me that he gets some of the development. I'm going to be sitting there holding my breath. It's not quite to the level of Alex Smith, where I'll get queasy, where I'll be in a disgusting taste in my mouth when I see him play, because I'm so scared he's going to get injured again. It's not that level, but it's closer to that than zero.
Well, he also gets hit more than anybody else quarterback. That's the stat. Now, I don't know what the numbers look like total at this point, because he's missed a lot of games over the last several weeks. But I believe it was going into the Seattle game, and if not, it was the week before that. It wasn't that close. He had been hit more than any other quarterback in the NFL since he came into the league. And the combination of those hits, that quantity, with his minuscule frame is a problem. Now, a lot of the hits are because he runs so much and he gets tackled. And they're not scary. They're not bad hits. That just means, though, you took on contact on those plays. But guess what? Plenty of those hits are in the pocket. The one you talked about, that Bengals game last year where he delivers a dime.
And that's the position.
And that is part of the position.
Yeah, the Dallas hit that he got hurt on. That's a guy comes free. He's in an awkward spot. He went down awkwardly, hurt himself. That happens. That's going to happen next year too, probably.
But if the ball's coming out faster, if he's more decisive, Mariota in the sense, even though everything Jayden Daniels does is typically at a higher rate, other than maybe run and read option or a couple things, right? But my point is, Mariota is so decisive pre-snap, and the ball comes out so quick in quick game, he's going to get hit naturally a lot less. You're not going to see those 40-50% pressure rate games if someone's holding the ball to try to make plays. So that's going to have to be a part of this too. And if I'm Cliff, that's one thing I'm saying. Hey, help our guys a little bit here and help yourself. You're going to take the hits because of the play style. Let's take fewer of them in the pocket. Don't you think that would be a worthwhile conversation?
And that's part of my point about the paradigm. I want those things emphasized. If we're going deep, let's max protect it. Let's add an extra lineman or keep someone in the block to chip. And maybe, that route might be dead because there's fewer receivers there to deceive the defense. Whatever it is, I want we can't afford to have his growth stunted because it's not just the games that he's missing. Again, it's weeks of real meaningful practice. I know they don't meaningfully practice. It's vet days for everybody every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or Tuesdays if it's a short week, or Mondays.
Did you see Noah Brown was out with a rest day today?
Yeah, but it was planned.
A planned
rest day. Oh, my God. But even still, shtick aside, him being on the football field, both for practice and games, is incredibly valuable. We're still building this thing into superstardom.